Hello card fighters, Chris here. We have week 1 of Brave. Really excited for this. I think Brave is a very underestimated kind of style of play. People like harp on it because getting Brave is pretty bad, but there's definitely a lot of potential in the deck. Not that we will get there probably, but there's a lot of potential. It's a pretty strong deck, so if you are picking Royal Paladins, do not count it out. Although I guess with the Legend deck coming out, you might just want to use that because it has a very high chance of being better. Alright, so starting with the deck, we have our starter. We're using the new, it's only 2 trial decks at this point, so there's probably not going to be too amazing stuff. We have the starter. He has the ability to counterblast 1, put him into soul, and activate Brave for the whole turn, and you do that on any player's battle phase. So you can do it on your opponent's battle phase if you need Brave. On their battle phase, that can help when there's newer cards. There's some G Guardians that get power. There's some perfect cards that have some Brave effects. So it's useful, but not super useful in the trial deck. It also has another effect, Brave. Rest him, give a unit plus 3000 power. That's pretty useful. It can help you rush, get some nice numbers in the early game. So pretty good. Grade 3s, we got 4 altmile. You definitely want to be on this guy. He has 2 skills. His first is when you stride, you counterblast 1. You can call 2 cards from your hand and then choose 2 of your units and give them plus 5000. So pretty good. Helps you hit numbers. This is like your best way to hit numbers in this deck. And numbers and aggression is it's pretty good. It's a pretty good thing to be doing. And then the other effect is actually really nice. When you're GB2, if you don't stride for whatever reason, all your units in the front row gets plus 5000. So that's really the key to this. You're going to get plus 5000 power to your front row with altmile, and then kind of do some multi-attack plays, but since it's a continuous on Vanguard, every new unit that you call to your front row is also getting that plus 5000. So that is really nice. So don't forget that plus 5000 will be on any unit because of the way, because it's a continuous ability. So that's going to be very useful. It was very useful in the tournament, even though we didn't do that well. This guy, he's 11k. His name is not that important, but he has Brave. When he's attacking, counterblast 1, give him plus 5000 power. That's a Vanguard or Rearguard skill, so it's kind of nice, I guess, if you want to go attack rush early because it's not a generation break, so you can kind of pressure that early game decently with this guy, but really we just need cards to stride with at this point, and that's why we have that 9th grade 3, which you guys are probably used to by now. We try to run 9 grade 3s right at the beginning, just so we're consistent with striding, although it ended up not being that big of a deal this time around. So this guy, he gets plus 2 if your other grade 2 is called, grade 2 or greater is called, so not terrible, not amazing, just another grade 3 to help stride. Although there was definitely times where I purposely didn't stride so I could get that plus 5000 to the front row, so pretty good. So grade 2s, this is the meat of Royal Paladin decks. If you haven't been playing that long, Royal Paladin decks are very good. They're well known for being able to call units, or call grade 2 units specifically, and get extra attacks off, which is why that altmile skill is so good for pumping up the front row and then getting more attacks off. So this is really the key, multi-attack enabler in the trial deck. He has a counterblast 2 skill. When he attacks, you call a grade 2 unit from your deck, and if that unit has Brave, that unit gets plus 3000. So that's really nice. A thing that I didn't realize until playing with it, he can call himself. So if you do have a lot of counterblasts open, you can use his skill to call another one, and then use this, and then call another one over here. You probably won't have 6 counterblasts, so probably don't call this guy next. But this is your really only way to generate those extra attacks. Remember that a key part to this deck is that you are able to call on top of your other units. So if you have a unit over here, you attack with this one, you can search out a grade 2 and call it over this other one, and what happens to this one is it gets retired. So that's not super common except in multi-attack decks. It used to be a little bit more common, previously, when you're like, oh well, I wanted to be aggressive earlier, but then I want to get rid of this unit now, so I'm going to call over it. but now it's really only used in multi-attack decks. And you know, the benefit of that, if you haven't figured that out, is because you can attack first and then call over it. So then that's how you get that extra attack in. Anyway, that's enough explaining about how those multi-attack works. Definitely a good card. Next, we have Klaus. I really like Klaus. He's got 2 effects. Both of them are very strong in this deck. The first one is a Generation Break effect if you're on altmile, as you really hope you are. When you call him, he gets plus 2,000 and he gives another unit plus 2,000. So he's going to be 11 by himself, and he's also going to make another unit 11. That's really useful, right? So if we're using this guy who calls out other stuff, sorry, his name's kind of long, Kariausis or whatever. So pretend you had these guys, you attack with this one, you call this one out, you can give them both plus 2, and now you have an 11,000 attack on this side and 11,000 attack on that side, which can hit your opponent's Vanguard without being boosted. So that's really nice there. And then his other effect is Brave. When you're Brave and his attack hits, you can bounce him back to hand. So this is really good because it really emphasizes that you can rush in the early game, you can call cards out in the early game, drop your hand size by calling cards, and then if this unit hits, hopefully it does because they might not have too much shield in the early game, then you just get it back to hand and you're good to go for next turn. And then just to round out the grade 2s, we're running 12 total. We have some 10k vanillas just to help kind of keep your opponent, keep him away from me. We do want to try to hit stride because a lot of our effects are Generation Break. And then 2 10k interceptors. Normally I don't like these guys in decks, but since Royal Paladins are good at calling grade 2s out, rather than going for an aggressive play with the call to grade 2, you could go for a defensive one, grab your special interceptor, meaning that when he intercepts he gets plus 10,000 shield. That's a lot of free shield, and that's an option to think of. It's a nice option to have in this deck. So finally, with the grade 1s, 4 perfect guards. Gotta have perfect guards, just gotta have perfect guards. 4 of this Knight of Tomahawk has 2 skills. When it's Generation Break, she's called to rear guard, gets plus 2,000. Not bad. It doesn't help a ton. It can help a little bit. It doesn't help a ton though. But the other important part is that when she's in your deck and you're Brave, she has a grade +1. That means she counts as a grade 2. And you know, we're never gonna complain about more grade 2s in a deck that calls grade 2s out for a living. So pretty good. I never really used it for the Brave effect, mostly just, you know, get that +2, help make some nice numbers, and just have a booster. And the best grade 1, probably the best card in this deck right now, is the Sorcerer of Damascus. So she has a Brave effect, Generation Break 1. At the end of the turn, you can retire her, draw 1, and countercharge 2. So that's huge. You get a lot of resources just for retiring her, but you do have to be Brave, and that's kind of tricky because you know, your drive checks give you 3 cards. So if you happen to hit a draw trigger or your Klaus bounces back to your hand, you're not going to be Brave at the end of turn, and then you're not going to be able to activate Damascus effect. So you do have to be smart about what skills you're activating just so you can get Damascus off, because I do think it's the best card in the deck. So lastly, we've got our triggers. We have 4 criticals, 4 draws, 4 stands, and 4 heals. There's not really much else we can do with the deck given the start deck, or given what's in the trial decks, but I can definitely say right now the draw triggers are coming out. It's just so detrimental to some of your plays when you, like, okay, I'm going to call all the cards in my hand, or I'm going to bind all the cards in my hand, with Selfless, which is the stride that we'll show in a bit, and then you hit a draw trigger and you go up to 3 to 4 cards, you're out of Brave range, and then your ability is shut off. So luckily that didn't happen to me this week, but we just want to get rid of these draws because you don't want that situation happening. And then the strides, it's 4 Selfless. That's the stride that comes in the trial deck. It's just a Soul Blast. You can bind your whole hand face down, which is nice for Damascus because you can have like 7 cards in your hand, you just bind them all face down, drive check 3 cards, hope you don't hit a draw, and end of turn your Damascus can go off before the cards that are bound get back to your hand, and you get to counter charge 2 and draw 1, so it's very nice. That interaction is very good, and then it also gives one of your rear guards plus 5,000, so it just helps hit your numbers, get better numbers going. So definitely a pretty good card, although not always what you want to do. There's definitely times where you don't want to stride and just use your multi-attack guys and use altmile's GB2 power to finish your opponent off that way. And lastly, we have our buddies Aglim and Spryu to help us get G guards and to help us, defend a little bit. So we're gonna go into the sad life of match results now. It was a 4-round tournament, and we didn't win a single game, much less a match. So round 1 we played against Gold Paladin Gurgwit. It was pretty close. Game 2, game 1, the deck is just more efficient than we are right now, so we couldn't really get anything going, and eventually he uses the GR Gurgwit, uses it like twice, gets like a bunch of power, and I'm like, I got 2 cards in my hand, man, I can't guard this. Then game 2, it was also very close. We went early, we're using the classic trial deck, started to the side, draw trigger, get anything we can going. That's not like necessarily what we have to do in this deck, because you could go really ham early and then just boom plus 3,000, so that makes a 7. That's not too bad. It could hit a grade 1. But we try to be aggressive. We hit crit on grade 1, crit on grade 2, put them to 4 really fast, and then just play to defend and try to like keep it up, try to keep our advantage going, keep our pressure going. But we were not able to close out the game. The Gold Paladins are just too much more efficient than this double trial deck combo. And that's it is what it is. So we lost that because we are just not quite good enough yet. Next game we played against Silverthorns. It was really bad. The first game we were both grade locked, both me and my opponent. So we kind of played this derpy like grade 2, attack at your rear guard, attack your vanguard, do whatever we can with what we have. And then eventually he got to grade 3. He had a limit break effect. I had nothing until stride. Limit break effect closed out the game for him. Whew. Rough start to that match. Game 2, we tried to put up a bit of early pressure. We weren't really able to do enough, and then strides got going, and they were just able to, call out. They could actually call out more units than we can right now, and the plus power from altmile wasn't enough. The Silverthorn deck also gets a cross ride, which means they're at 13,000 defense all the time, which really just messed with my numbers. Couldn't hit good numbers, so it was unfortunate, and a lot of times I wasn't drawing Knight of Damascus. So, round 3, another 0-2 loss to Nova Grappler Victors, and that, we just couldn't do much. We tried to rush them as hard as we could. One game, he hit like 4 draw triggers in that game. The draw triggers gave him shield in hand, gave him units to call, and no amount of PGs in the world is gonna save you, because he just got to stall out favorite champ on me, go ham, and that was the game. Game 2, it was fairly similar. He didn't hit as many draw triggers, but he got a double crit. Oh, the double crit on his first stride put me all the way up to 5. I had to guard with my whole hand. I had no field to push back on him. And then, I just had 4 cards in hand, and he was able to do some stride shenanigans and get like 4 or 5 attacks, and I can't even guard that with just 4 cards in hand. So that was the game there. Kind of just getting overwhelmed by like other decks. They can just do stronger things than I can. I can't really make aggressive plays. Because it's okay if you can make very aggressive plays, but then if you don't have good defense, because then you're going to wear down your opponent's hand, and it just becomes like this battle of who can do it faster. But we don't have enough aggression, we don't have any defense, so it's a little rough right now. But week 2 hopefully will change that. And then finally, the 4th 0-2 round. 4 0-2 rounds in a row. It was pretty demoralizing, I'm not gonna lie. The 4th 0-2 round we played against Mega Colony, very similar to Gold Paladins. it was kind of slow and drawn out, and we just couldn't really get anything going. They have an effect that can rest the rear guard when I call it, so I wasn't able to do any multi-attacks. I was just kind of like floating in the water, like trying to get triggers to push him in and kill him, but he just stunned all my stuff, and I even tried to play around it like, oh, okay, a strategy against Mega Colony is if they use their effect that's going to let them draw if it's still rested at the end of the turn, is you just call over it, so you get rid of that unit so they can't draw. So what I was trying to do is like, okay, well, I'll just keep calling over my own cards and force him not to draw. That way we can both be on a low card count type thing. But it never really quite worked out, and especially because this deck can't call anything outside that 1 grade 2, I was just kind of dropping cards from my hand and eventually just getting punished for that. It just draw out the game, and I just couldn't come back eventually. So that's the sad truth. 2 Drow decks probably isn't going to cut it. Every game it was just like, it was either I just got totally outpowered, or I got slowly outpowered, and you know, all the aggro I could do in the world was not going to help. Anyway, I'm excited for week 2. There's a lot of changes to make to help buff up this deck. Definitely in the triggers, like I mentioned, the draw triggers need to go. I was always deathly afraid of hitting a draw trigger because I didn't want to mess up Brave. There's just a lot of weak cards in this deck that need to get moved out to put power cards in, and then maybe the strides will get changed up a little bit or add some strides. Selphis is okay, he's not amazing, but I really think that the main deck really needs work, so we're going to focus on that in week 2. Anyway guys, thank you for watching. Leave a comment down below if you have any thoughts on this build. Tell me what you guys think about Royal Paladin. What are your thoughts on Brave? Let me know. Give a thumbs up if you liked the video. Make sure you're subscribed. Got week 2 coming out. You don't want to miss that, right? And thanks to all the patrons on Patreon for supporting the content. I really appreciate it. If you want to be like them and support the content, wait till the end slate pops up and hit the orange P. It'll take you right over there. Again, thank you for watching. Keep on learning, keep on having fun, and I'll see you in another video.